good ski. Now we're talking. Woo. Almost went for a swim there in the creek. Okay, again with this width, the Cinder 110 is way more fun, way better turns, way cleaner turns, more maneuverable than the Cinder 104. What is going on? This is like the atomic bent thing all over again. The turns are clean, the shape makes sense. Everything is like dialed in and the proportions make sense. Much better ski. Second tracks. All right, still some powder back here. There we go. What a great ski. Don't want to go that way. So we'll be respectful today. Woo! Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the Rossignol Cinder 110 Free. Now, this has been a long series of Rossignol skis that I demoed. My local ski mountain only demos Rossignol for some reason, so this was kind of a part of a bigger marathon. So right off the bat, these skis were not provided to me by Rossignol. I spent my own money demoing them and giving you my honest opinion. So if you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That helps support the channel, helps me basically pay for these demos so I can give you my honest opinion. This is the 2024 Cinder 110 Free. I skied these in a 184, which means they have a turn radius of 20 meters. Though they actually felt like that might be a little bit shorter. Hard to tell, could just be how I was skiing it, but I would say it felt like it turned a little bit snappier than that if you wanted it to. Because I skied it in a 184, I also had these at 2,190 grams per ski in that length. Relatively light ski if you think about that width in the 110 width. Not super duper light, not extremely light, but still pretty light when you consider the width and the length. This ski is a twin tip with a splayed tip and a splayed tail. They're splayed about the same with a pretty healthy amount of camber in the middle. This width is kind of new to the 2024 lineup. It has what they call their damp tech in the tip and the tail. Some of the other skis just have it in the tip, but this has it in the tip and tail. And it has what they call their diagonal top sheet. Basically, it's like a diagonal running top sheet pattern that's supposed to give it some torsional rigidity. I don't know that I actually felt that underfoot, but it could be something that's, you know, hard to point out on its own. So now that we've got all those kind of specs out of the way, let's talk about the most important piece. How did the ski feel on the snow? What were my first impressions? And honestly, I skied these skis the same day I skied the Cinder 104 Ti. And I have to say, surprisingly, I like this ski a lot more. I found it to just be a lot more fun, a lot more versatile. The proportions of it seem to make more sense. Specifically, the first thing that I really noticed with this ski though is just, I like the turn shape a lot. I like the turn initiation. I like kind of how those wider tips kind of hook up. It was really fun and playful when I went off trail. I really love this ski. This is probably my favorite ski to take off trail for the whole day. Sometimes when you get on skis, you get a feeling for the flex pattern. Like, does this have a pretty even flex? Is it kind of poppy in certain parts of the ski? Is it focused more on turn initiation, something like an Elan ripstick, where I go, okay, this ski is trying to get me just into position to start each next turn. This was not like that. This was more like, hey, we've got kind of a soft, gradual feel, and you just need to kind of time out your pressure to get smooth, fun turns. But now that we've talked about my first impressions, let's just jump right into the review. Let's talk about the good, and then we'll talk about the bad. The good, as I kind of mentioned before, I really like the turn shape. Just like a mixture of the softness of the flex, like kind of how gradual it is, mixed with that turn radius. I felt like this was a really rewarding turn shape. Obviously with 110, the radius is going to be a little bit bigger, but just the shape of turns it likes to take and its ability to be a little bit flexible with that turn shape was really satisfying to me. The second thing I really liked was the nice, easy flex. I didn't feel like it was a ski that was like noodly, but I also felt like it was not really difficult to gradually build pressure and find that soft spot in the middle of the ski. As far as dampness goes, I'd say this has got like a C+. It was fairly damp depending on the conditions, but I felt like overall it was still above average for what you might see out of a ski. I had some kind of areas where I had packed powder on top and ice underneath, and these skis did a phenomenal job kind of eating up those bouncier sections. The other thing I liked is they were fairly fun to jump. I felt like with that twin tip in the back, they were kind of flicky and you could do fun jumps. And the last good thing that I really noticed is I was nervous about these because they're kind of going away from a directional ski, and when you get into the 110, it's more of a twin tip. As somebody who used to ski race, I tend to really like to load up the ski and give the ski its torsional rigidity by having the ski loaded with energy, having that downhill ski kind of loaded up and ready to go. And to my surprise, I actually found that when I had that ski loaded with kind of boot energy, I don't know how you want to say it, like I was flexing the front of my boot, which means the ski was slightly engaged at all times. And I found that the tip of the ski cut through all conditions. Granted, I'm on the West Coast, so you don't have to be as hyper aggressive, but I had no issues. I've had some other skis like the Armada, or even to a lesser extent the Black Crows, where if you get too far forward, things can kind of get caught up. The Salomon QST, if you're in deep snow, can get really hung up if you're too far forward. And this ski didn't do that. This ski created a nice platform. I didn't have to sit on the end of the ski. I was able to kind of sit midfoot and keep that ski engaged. And it had no issues with grabbing or flopping around. It was a very stable ski. I think that it created a really nice platform, and it does really well with people who like kind of an aggressive downhill ski stance. Some skis react better to it than others, but I will say I think the ski did a nice job. I think one of the skis that probably does that best as an example would be the Salomon QST 106. If you're too far forward, it can get hung up, but as far as having pressure on your boot the whole way through, that ski does a good job, and this ski similarly also does a good job with having nice downhill pressure through all conditions, or feeling good when you have downhill ski pressure even in the kind of thicker snow. All right, now that we talked about the good, let's talk about the bad, because if you're buying this ski, don't you want to know the good and the bad? Don't you want to know the drawbacks? Because eventually, if you're owning this ski, you're gonna find these things. So let's be honest, let's tell you the things I didn't like about this ski. So the most kind of glaring weakness of this ski would honestly be that it's a little bit kind of chunky and sluggish when you get it off trail. If you go in the kind of short radius trees area, or if you go somewhere where you don't have a lot of room to make those big open turns, this ski can really struggle, especially compared to something like an Atomic Bent 110, which can really make those turns on command. I don't think it's a big deal if you're doing big open faces, but if you're somebody who gets up on the hill at a point where the real powder you're finding is kind of off trail or more in the bramble or where people don't tend to go, then that could be problematic because, you know, it really struggles with those kind of short, quick hop turns. You can do them, you can force that to happen, but it does take a little bit more effort. The ski's got a really smooth shape, it's got a really stable platform, but it can kind of get in its own way when it comes to quick turns, or that shape really relies on using the fall line in order to initiate the turn. So if you're in a spot where you don't have that, it can be a little frustrating, almost like it's got this molasses kind of slow turn coming around. It's not a big deal if you're making nice, big, swooping turns, but if you're getting into kind of tight areas where you need to get that turn done quickly, it can feel frustrating. So what rating would I give the Rossignol Sender 110 free? Honestly, I'm gonna give these an 8.6 out of 10. I felt like they did an amazing job. One, being versatile. I enjoyed taking them on the groom trails. I enjoyed taking them off trail. I enjoyed the smoothness. I enjoyed the turn shape. I enjoyed the platform I was building under my feet. It's just kind of that sluggishness off trail that docked it down a little bit, because, you know, lately with the winters we've been having or how crowded mountains get, you really need to be able to kind of explore off trail and have quicker turns. So when you have to kind of throw your skis around, or they get a little kind of wrapped up in the perfect line, you can't always get that perfect line if you want to be in fresh powder. So for me, that's the ski's biggest drawback. But that being said, of all the Senders I've tested, with the Black Ops Sender, the Sender 104 Ti, and now the Sender 110 free, I will say the Sender 110 was the most comfortable ski for me. One of the big things that I noticed is that it didn't hurt my hips with it. You know, sometimes with really wide skis, it can kind of feel uncomfortable on my hips. This was the most comfortable ski that I skied out of the Sender series. It was the most stable platform. It was the most fun to carve. It was the most fun kind of taking it anywhere on the mountain. Any condition, I found myself to be very happy with these skis. So if this ski sounds like something you like and you're not too worried about kind of quick turns on demand or quick kind of hop turns in the trees, this ski may be perfect for you. If you like, almost like if you were surfing and you had one of those longboards, just nice open kind of riding waves, riding that kind of powder through the turn, then I think you'll really like this ski. For me, an 8.6, I think I can highly recommend this. Again, this was my favorite Rossignol Sender ski I've skied yet, and was very happy with it. So anyway, I know this is kind of a shorter review, but again, Rossignol does not send me skis, so I don't have a ton of time to really get on the ski and make a ton of content with it. I just have kind of that limited rental window. But I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion because I think Rossignol makes nice skis. I've historically really liked them, and just wanted to kind of give you my opinion on the Sender 110. So anyway, as I said before, I am not paid to review these. I don't get the skis even sent to me. I spend my own money to give you my honest opinion. So if you want to support this channel, you can become a member. We have some kind of tiers for different memberships. You can also like and subscribe if you're looking for a free way to support the channel. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to watch. If you're set on buying these skis and you found this review helpful, I will put an affiliate link down below. That supports the channel in a small way. Or if you're just looking for a free way to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a lot. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to watch. Because you guys watch these videos, I'm able to spend my money and review these skis. Also, a big shout out to Bogus Basin for allowing me to demo these skis through your shop. I still paid for it, but I feel like the guys at the shop did a really good job and were able to kind of get me skis quickly so I could try a bunch of them that day. But yeah, just thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
That's the spot over here. God, that snow is so old. I can remember having a Tamagotchi.